Guys, I'm just going to come straight out with this, but man, this film is so let down by its trailers. Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. Christ, it's been 9 flipping years since Fury Road, and now we're finally getting the prequel to Charlize Theron's character? The IMDb blurb for this simply states that it's the origin story of renegade warrior Furiosa before her encounter and team up with Mad Max. Quite simply, I don't think that's enough for anyone to figure out what to expect. In general, I think Furiosa has been hindered quite a bit by its marketing and online presence. Having seen trailers for this quite a lot whenever I've gone to see another movie in cinemas, I still didn't really have a good feel for what this film was going to be about. So in addition to IMDb's one-liner, this is about Furiosa, who was stolen from her home place full of nature and health in a land which was thought to be entirely a wasteland. We follow her from childhood to adulthood as she works to rise above all else in her quest for vengeance against a warlord who was responsible for her captivity. Yeah, I saw the trailer for this originally and I just really was not dying to go see this. The trailers made it look like a shallow prequel story with janky green screen use and boring environments. It doesn't really show you many of the interesting aspects of the story and is played with generic voiceovers taken straight out of the film itself. And if it sounds like I'm angry about this, it's because I am. Furiosa is a really fucking great movie and I almost didn't see it. I think some of the bigger concerns I had was that I wasn't necessarily sold on both Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth in these roles. More so Anya Taylor-Joy when it comes to be this hardcore action heroine per se, and also that the story wasn't really going to be covering any interesting ground. The story is great. It's a prequel to Fury Road, directed again by the mastermind behind the franchise, George Miller. It's a long-ass movie at 2.5 hours, but it covers a huge span of time going from young Furiosa to right up to the beginning of Fury Road. And each stage in Furiosa's life in this film gives us some important character building blocks as well as some killer action scenes. In fact, I guess unsurprisingly if you've ever watched a Mad Max film, but the action work in here is carnage. The vehicles have great steampunky post-apocalyptic designs, some returning and some new, and the combination between the crazy stunt work they're doing and the incredible camera work that takes place, it's just awesome to see. There's this great sequence that happens like 5 minutes into the film, had me hooked from then onwards, and I really need to emphasize that camera work. Whilst the action is fundamentally interesting, when you have like a 2.5 hour movie in an environment that's nothing but desert and wasteland, that eccentric and varied use in camera zooms and angles really helps keep you engaged in what's going on. I mean, shit like paragliders hanging off the back of motorbikes throwing explosive spears into trucks also definitely helps, but director George Miller and cinematographer Simon Duggan really helped tie all this into one great package. So the story is a win, the action is the win, and now moving on to the characters. It makes you think the movie will be predominantly Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, but it's not quite the case. Isla Brown deserves a lot of credit for playing a large chunk of young Furiosa in the first quarter of the film. I think she does an excellent job. And there's also just a really decent amount of supporting characters, all dynamically different enough to keep a desert wasteland setting feeling unique and interesting. Plus we also get the return of Immortan Joe from Fury Road in this, and he's surprisingly relevant to the story too. And yes, as for main characters, Anya Taylor-Joy does do a really solid job. The lines in the trailer come off a bit stale, but honestly her character is more of a mute in this, and so Anya Taylor-Joy was having to show us a lot of this rage through her actions, instead of that dialogue which I don't think was necessarily working as well. And so I liked her performance more when it was action focused and less so when it was drama focused, which I honestly thought would have been the other way around for me. Plus the character of Furiosa herself is smart, and it's nice to see our main heroine constantly coming up with good ideas or never hesitating to do what was necessary to get the job done. The real show stealer of the film though is without a doubt Chris Hemsworth as Dementus. This man just loves playing villains whenever he can and will always have fun when doing so. If you've ever seen Bad Times at the El Royale, you'll know what I mean. Here it's just dialed up by like 20-fold, and he's so good as this deranged warlord leader who is just the right levels of devious and cartoonish that when he's on screen parading around the set or chatting absolute nonsense, it's super entertaining. In a franchise of interesting characters, they make Dementus up there as one of the best. Music is mostly at a minimum, and that's because they're confident enough of what they're showing you that you don't really need any additions to have you gripped, so you're just fully focused on this incredible vehicle work. And look, granted the movie's not perfect, not everything lands. I found whenever there was a voiceover that was quite jarring, it always took me out of the moment. And then there was like one too many fadeaway transition shots where you could almost make a rule out of a drinking game for it. And you could also probably shave 15 minutes or so off this to stop it feeling as long as it did at certain points, but honestly I couldn't tell you where to. And so, I mean, well, the bottom line is that if you've even got the smallest taste for action in your body, I would recommend this without a doubt. If you enjoyed any Mad Max film in the past, it's safe to say that this one won't disappoint, and you can even jump into this one without having ever experienced a Mad Max film before, which is just a small list of things that I don't think the marketing was relaying correctly at all. It seems to have hurt its opening weekend in the box office, and I really hope some good word of mouth gives this the longevity it needs in order to make its budget back. So that's Furiosa. It came out the weekend just gone, so maybe you've already seen it. If so, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, feel free to leave a like and subscribe and all that. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.